Tell me about Deformed Chicken.
Oh, you know about? How did you know about? Oh,
We'll explain later.
I just realized the links of things. So yeah, that was just zines, like short for magazine.
Yeah,
it's in the 80s.
Yeah,
a lot of skaters and punk rockers would make these little zines.
Yeah.
So my friend Ross Harris and I made one called Deformed Chicken.
Yeah.
And we only made one issue.
And he sort of like a celebrity around campus because of the airplane. Had he done Airplane yet?
Oh yeah, he did. He was 10 years old when he was the little boy in Airplane that goes in the cockpit. And
yeah,
the guy's like, "Have you ever seen a grown man naked? Ever been to a Turkish bathhouse or what? All that stuff."
Yeah.
Anyways, you like gladiator movies, Joey? That's him, that little kid. But yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, we made that zine. We were probably like 14 or 15 when we made the zine.
So
that's
like awesome.
84, 85, somewhere around there.
What were you influenced by? Like, where's the zine culture coming in from? Is it punk rock?
Punk and skateboarding, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. Mm-hmm. And who were your skate heroes?
Like Christian Asoy and Steve Caballero and Neil Blender and Jeff Grosso.
Yeah, totally. Did you have sometimes there was like 8th Street people, or there's like Powell people, or there's, Santa Cruz people. Like there was gangs sort of within, like, who do you like? Which videos do you like watching? Yeah. And I was a Powell person, but I think that, that was very creative, but not very tough. They weren't like the tough crowd.
They were more the straight lace guys.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like in that movie Thrashin'. There was the daggers and the ramp locals.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Powell would be the ramp locals. And then, like Alva or Hosoi and all those guys were like the daggers.
Dude, totally. Thinking about like how much we had to gravitate around those films to give us something, because you would wait for a skate video to come out if they even I don't even know the earliest skate videos. Do you
Bones
know?
Brigade videos?
It probably was, right? Is that like 83 or something, maybe 84?
Yeah, I think they started in 83. Before that, there was one that I really liked and I had on VHS tape that I watched so many times. Every morning. It was called Skateboard Madness.
Oh, I feel like
and it's such a good one. And it's got a lot of, it's like probably 1980, 81. And it's got, just epic skateboarding, but also it's got all this roller skating and really cool stop motion animation, and then also drawn animation.
Oh, sweet.
It's really cool.
So it's
a good
influencing maybe Powell videos to come because of the eclectic nature of that.
Yeah.
I love skateboarding doesn't get enough credit for creating that sort of like multi-genre comedy, animation, the songs kind of like being scored also, it seems like, to certain scenes, like where, you would hear Mariano, and ban this or whatever while he's skating. And you realize like, wait, this music, it's like, are they watching the skating while they're doing it? How are they calling out a Mariano right now in that skate scene?
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And it just seemed like there's so much creativity in skateboarding that I don't know if it's relevance to what we're all in now or what we're like trying to recreate. I don't know if there's been enough pointed to, it's Spike Jonze gets his well deserved. He's one of my favorite people of all time, and it must be weird also just kind of like, today I was playing Tyler the Creator when I came in here and I realized like, oh yeah, he probably knows Tyler, and they because of Loiter Squad or whatever, crossover shit.
Yeah, we had Tyler in our latest movie, Jackass Forever, also.
Oh, that's right.
He was playing the piano.
Right. Yes, that was
shocked him in the butt, but he knew it was up. He was not falling for it.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Did you even, when you hear, I just put on Tyler, and then when you hear that, is it just like, oh yeah, I know so many people now that are kind of influencing culture that it's like hearing my friend, or can you get into the music?
For me, it was like I had never heard that and I had no idea it was him.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like that guy, but
yeah.
It's just like I don't listen to that kind of stuff. I remember my daughter was really excited about his stuff a few years ago when he came through town and did a show in Ventura.
Oh, wow.
We went to that and she got to meet him. She was blown away. Her and her friends were so stoked.
Holy shit. Where did he perform?
At the Ventura Theater, the Majestic.
Wow, that must have been so great.
It was really cool.
That's cool. So, you've met enough people at this point. I guess I'm kind of wondering, I think probably what a lot of people are wondering at times, if they do the kind of study of Jackass, as much as I've watched it, like I think I go, what excites Dave now? Like what's exciting in life and what's scary?
This is both exciting and scary.
Yeah. Oh my God. So we're sitting in Dave's, what would you call this room?
It's a dungeon.
Okay. We're in Dave's dungeon, and we're at a table that's completely covered with toys, mostly skate. Are they all skate? Is it all skate related?
The only reason all this stuff is out here is because I'm making a fingerboard documentary, and I was going to film just all this stuff at once. So I actually put it on the table. And I was about to do it, and then that was like 2 months ago.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So, yeah, I'm slowly making it. It's been almost a year. But
we're giving you a little bump. You're giving you a little push in that direction.
This helps. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, so this scares you like a mess, or just making a film about this?
I am not super happy about how messy it is, but I mean, I was just kind of joking, but I'm super excited about it. I've always loved fingerboards when they came out in the early 80s. Mm-hmm. They didn't, first of all, we would make them, we would take apart like, Hot Wheels cars.
Yeah.
And, just some cardboard and cut it out and then glue everything together. And they last like, a couple hours. Maybe
you were
less.
making.
Everybody did. Yeah. It was like a normal thing.
I don't remember that. That's crazy with the Hot Wheels. And okay, cool.
Yeah. Wait, let's figure it out. Which one of us is older?
Oh, no. You're older.
Gotcha.
You look younger.
So that's why. Because, So, in the early 80s, I was like, I basically from when I was like 12 years old on is when I started skateboarding, and probably like 13 is when we started figuring out fingerboards, and we'd make our own. And then also they made these keychain ones. Somewhere around here I have them. Let's see, where are they?
The keychain ones.
Here they are. These are literally the ones I had. I've kept these since the 80s.
Yes.
Like this one I've had since 85, a Gator.
Oh,
look at that grip.
God,
look at my grip tape job.
Yes.
I did a custom grip tape job with all those colored grip tape. And it's missing a wheel.
This is so fucking
and then they have these Tony Hawk ones, and a lot of them are a little worse for wear.
Wow.
Like Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
See, they came like that with the keychain.
Totally.
Usually you just take the keychain off, and then you got a little fingerboard. Yeah, this is the OG fingerboards.
Yeah, these are rad. This is such a memory.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, got the grip tape job too.
Yeah, that's how I've been into them that long.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And I was into them too. I mean, like just, at school or whatever, when you're sitting in class, like you like do it on your desk if you're lucky, and kind of keep things quiet, or in your room when you're supposed to be doing homework.
Yep.
Or whatever, like sneaking away doing that. But how did it stay with you? Like what?
I'm a hoarder. So I just kept them among many other things I've just lugged around with me throughout my life. And
nice.
Always kind of wondering, like, why am I keeping this? Like, I've got a problem.
Yeah.
And then one day I just embraced it and just started getting more and more. And, I have 4 kids, and I would always be like, hey, look what I got you for Christmas. Oh, you're not playing with that anymore? Give it back to Daddy. So, like, I amassed so much stuff like that. Like buying them the things I really wanted. And then
it's kind of genius upcycling parenting, though.
I'm so smart. You'd be amazed.
Yeah. So when you found a room like this that had all these books and all these artifacts and stuff like that, when you walked into this and it was knew that it was coming with it, was that kind of like a dream come true, even without the relevance of the material?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I can't even believe all this stuff is in here. Yeah.
It's like we're in the opposite of Adolf Hitler's bunker. We're in the damn it, I didn't get a spit take. Oh, so fucking close.
I don't need sticky fingerboards. Jeez. That was very close. The opposite of Hitler's bunker.
Yeah,
that's where we're at.
We're actually like going to unsuicide ourselves here.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this was like, okay, was this, a place like this too? Like, is it just, do you walk in and go like, okay, this is the shit? Because it is a fucking amazing place.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole place, the whole thing.
Yeah. I said, this is the shit when I walked in here.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was great pulling up to your gate and having this full experience of like, I don't know. I mean, I'll be a fan for a minute. I want to connect with the audience and be like them.
Wait, there's an audience?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
There's people there. They're looking in your house right now. Pulling up to the gate and hitting the code, and then, which is, I'm just kidding.
I was waiting. I'm like, he's going to give the code out. Shit. That was a close one.
And then seeing you there's a van that's such a fucking Jackass van. It's just like such a Jackass. Has it ever been in a movie? Because it just feels like it's
the most Jackass thing that's ever happened with that van was we pulled up at an award show in it.
Oh,
and
nice.
We all piled out.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and then the guy driving it called me 1 minute later. He's like, "It says we're out of gas." I'm like, "No, it's the gas gauge is broken."
It just doesn't work. Yeah. But and then watching you roll by, and I thought it was on a skateboard because it was from a distance, but it was on a hoverboard. And you just I just watched, and Devin got it too. We were both sitting waiting. And the gates opening, and then you just go riding by, and it's just like the most Dave England fucking scene ever. This van, and you just rolling by waving. Anyway, thanks for having us.
I'm too lazy to walk. That's right? What it really comes down to.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever get the hoverboard, the actual?
I don't know. I mean,
how do we get off calling this the hoverboard?
The thing I was on was called a one wheel, but the hover idea, I'm like, I mean, I guess it'd be nice, but it seems like a crazy idea. And then, I remember when I was a kid, everyone said we were going to have hovercrafts. Like we'd be driving those, and it wouldn't matter if there's potholes or whatever. You're just cruising through. So I think an actual car like that would be the first thing I'd like to see.
Were you too old to watch Inspector Gadget?
No, I watched that. I watched even Sesame Street into my 20s, like without kids,
like non-ironic.
I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I swear, I could watch that shit right now, no problem, with or without kids.
It's like non-rave culture. You weren't like in the underground rave scene.
No,
you were just doing Sesame Street. Yeah, that's cool. I thought Sesame Street should have like a, when I had a dirty mind, I was like, oh, there should be a pornographic Sesame Street. Did you ever do this with your things?
I had a record. It's over here somewhere. Yeah. This record I have is like this one part. It's like, Grover, get on top of me. Like someone said that, and like I made a mix. Where like it was like a.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Where it's I don't have that anymore. I had a cassette tape in my record player, and I made it so he was saying, Grover, get on top of me. I think it was like Cookie Monster telling Grover to get on top of him.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I thought it was hilarious. So,
I was thinking it could be called like sexual. Well, that's a lame. It needs some revision. I haven't gone back to it since I was like 20. Sexual meat? Nah, yeah. Anyway.
Sexual meat. Yeah. You know what that reminds me? Have you ever seen Meet the Feebles?
Yes.
It's a Peter Jackson film. One of his, the guy who made the Lord of the Rings. One of his very first movies he made it, and it's like basically the Muppets, but it's like. The opening scene is a walrus fucking a cat, but they're Muppets.
What?
Yeah, it's
that's
crazy.
cool.
I can't even say it's good. It's just it's fucked up.
Yeah, it's sort of like
I liked it.
Have you revisited Labyrinth?
Yes, I like
because
Labyrinth
you have younger kids. Yeah, I mean me too. But it's
Bowie.
Yeah, right. No, of course, but it's a very weird phase of Bowie.
Yes,
like he's got this
as opposed to all his normal phases.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like I didn't expect he'd go like sort of hair metal, like spandex. There's a bulge that's happening, and maybe I'd like that now. I used to make me feel uncomfortable, but I think I probably wasn't in touch with my
like all you could look at was his bulge. You're like, I can't hear a word he's saying. It's just look at that. What is that?
No, there's like some ballads in it too, where it gets kind of dark and weird, and
maybe I haven't revisited enough, recently. But
what were your favorite childhood movies?
Oh God, just favorites in general is so hard for me when people say that.
Oh, what's your favorite? What do you remember? Right? No, it's
like
true.
I mean, like The Jerk. I will always love The Jerk. That movie is probably my favorite movie.
What age did you see that?
When it came out, I used to see movies. When I was a kid, I saw rated R movies or whatever age. I remember I saw Tommy. You know that one, the Pinball Wizard, the Who movie.
Yeah,
when that came out when I was 6 or 7 years old, I remember going to the drive-in with my mom, and she was on a date. She was on a date with her boyfriend, and I'm in the back seat just going, fucking Tina Turner's going to inject that dude. That movie freaked me out.
Wow.
And, being on in the back seat of your mom's on a date with a dude, and then one of the first things that happens is the guy kills the kid's dad.
Whoa, spoiler.
Spoiler alert
from 73 or something.
Yeah,
if you don't know
Tommy.
Yet. Yeah. Did you see Flight of the Navigator?
I never even heard of it.
No, and this is more 80s. This is like or what's the one with River Phoenix when he's sort of like a nerdy kid, Explorers. You know this one? Where they build a spaceship. I think
No.
it's our age difference.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
I'm 40. I'm about to be 48, and you're about to be 54. Is that right?
I am 54.
You are 54.
This year I'm going to be 55.
That's right. That's a world of difference when you're watching movies. You know.
I'm trying to think of a movie right now. What's it called? It's got Crispin Glover in it, and
Oh yeah. Wait.
Ruben and Ed. You ever see Ruben and Ed?
No.
Oh my God, that's
I
a good
love
one.
Crispin Glover though.
Yeah, he's like, my cat can eat a whole watermelon.
Oh wow, that's where that came from.
Yeah, so he basically has his cat's died and he wants to bury it out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
So he puts it in a cooler and he convinces this other guy to go out to the desert, and then they get stuck out there.
Yeah.
They get stuck out there, and then the ice melts and he's so thirsty that he's like drinking the water from that's in with a dead cat, and then he also like takes his shoe, like the little liner in his shoe, and he squeezes it out and gets the water in it.
Yeah. Where does embracing weird come from for you? Like in your life?
If I know. I don't know. I just like it. I love that shit.
Yeah.
The weirder the better.
Yeah. Crispin Glover's sort of like a mascot of perfect weird.
Yes.
Perfect level. Like he's done mainstream things, but then like you won't see him in interviews and he does the weird shit like the what is it in Wild at Heart?
Oh yeah.
That role is so crazy.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yes, it's so great, and he's just in this little vignette of like a story of the disturbed brother, is it or something?
That's another one that's really hard to find that movie.
You can't find it anymore.
But it's such a great movie. Like, how come it's so obscure? When it's so well done.
I know. I was thinking, is there like some weird shit that they're like now they don't want to have come out?
Maybe.
Like I think that Revenge of the Nerds got pulled for years because it's like pretty heavy on the
they hide a camera in the girls' locker or in the girls' bathroom. Yeah.
It was a hard one to explain to my teenagers. I was like, this hasn't aged well. I don't know what to say about it. You know,
my 11-year-old asked to see it like a week ago. I'm like,
really?
No.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I showed my daughter during the pandemic. Both my kids, they wanted to see Once Upon a Time, and they were 15. Oh, what were they like?
That's another movie I don't know.
14 and 12. Oh, the Quentin Tarantino movie. That was the last one that he made about vintage Hollywood, and it had the Manson sort of family.
That was what that was called?
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you just said Once Upon a Time.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, with Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Super good. I love that movie.
So good. And then the end comes, and I don't think my daughter had seen this level of sort of brutality. And she also didn't get the context of why it's so gratifying on some level to the audience to be enduring this level of violence because of the historical context of the event, which I'll keep kind of ambiguous in case you haven't seen it by now. But she freaked out at the lack of compassion, like that there wasn't it was relentless. The violence towards another, and she just couldn't understand how you could ever. She was like, "This person is a misguided person." She was like, the person who's being brutalized is like they were just misunderstood, and it was like such an innocent, amazing take on that I was like, yeah, why do we like taking that sort of thing in, and not asking questions about it or kind of like, what is it about me that's really enjoying this? Was kind of a trip. Kids do that.
Yeah.
A
lot of his movies are like that.
Oh, yeah.
Quentin Tarantino movies.
Yeah, like a redemption sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like throughout history that he can make right or whatever. Did you ever expect this life? Did you have any idea about being in films or being in entertainment when you're younger?
Not at all. Huh. My plan was to just snowboard and skateboard as much as I can, and then somehow die before I was 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Huh.
I used to, in the 90s, for a long time, I would just either take acid or mushrooms and just snowboard as much as I could, like almost every day.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because back then, too, they would tell you if you took hallucinogenics more than, I think it was 7 times, that you were legally insane and that you'll never recover from it. So I'm like, wow, well, that's done. I might as well enjoy the rest of my life before I'm just gonna die anyways, a crazy person.
Yeah.
So then somehow I made it past 30, and 30 when I was 30 is when we started Jackass.
No way.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, here it is. I'm gonna die.
Old when I started. Yeah,
the chariot awaits.
Yeah, finally. I'm like, finally, something that's gonna kill me.
Yeah. Oh my God. I wanted to ask you about that too, coming back to the original question of like what, we said what excites you and what scares you. There was this moment I had recently where I was like climbing like a rock wall out in nature. I guess we don't call them rock walls in nature. It's probably rocks. I was climbing rocks and I was feeling my age. I hadn't done it in a few years, I think since the pandemic. And there was this point where I got high up and I felt for the first time in my life, I felt like if I take another step, I'm going to die. It was like this very clear voice. It was just like, if you keep going right now, you're going to perish. And I felt like almost the wind kind of go out of me. And so I caught my breath for a second and just stayed there until I felt confident to move. And I'm going, how many of these is fucking Dave England experience? Or is that thing shut off in you or something?
It's definitely not shut off. I think, can anybody shut that off?
I don't know.
That's the time when you realize how happy you are to be alive.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to die. I got a lot of things I want to do. There's people in my life. And you're like, surfing, I end up in dumb situations like that every now and then. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to drown or something. I'm just out there and I can't get back in, or my leash snaps or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. And when you're down there, you're like, oh, this is how I'm going to die.
You're like, wow, this could be it. Like, I might not come out of this one. I hate that feeling. It's the worst. You're like, how did I get, this always catches you off guard. You're like, what, how am I, oh no, I'm in that situation again that I promised myself I'd make sure I wasn't ever going to get in again.
Dude, that's crazy, because I just think that people would be shocked to hear that like your surfing moments are the ones where you've actually thought you were going to die. Because I mean, for fucking shits and giggles, a couple days ago, I just watched Jackass 1 through 3. And if I had more time, I would have watched them all again because I love it so much. But you're in so many situations where it's like, and you bowed out of one of them, which I was like, oh, there it is. There's the line.
I'm still glad I didn't do that.
That one. Yeah. The getting shot.
Yeah.
Was it
it was this riot control thing where like thousands of these little pellets come out of this. It was like I think it was an exit sign that they had rigged up for like prisons. So if they all come running towards the exit, just boom, the exit sign blows all these pellets at them.
Yeah.
It just hits you every part of your body.
Right.
And they did it first on a dummy, and it looked just so horrible. I'm like, that's going to hurt so bad. And they're like, oh, it won't pierce the skin. And those guys were so bloody afterwards.
Totally.
And then and the place we were at was called Less Than Lethal. Whatever. That was their company name, Less Than Lethal. And they had to change it right before they had to change it to Less Lethal. Because some of the shit they had was killing people.
Right. No
and they just unleashed all this stuff. We were there for like 3 or 4 days and I hated it there. I think we're in Arkansas, if I remember correctly.
Fuck,
it was really scary. And then I'm so happy about out of that one. They had a few other ones. They had this little set of hotels that they own on their property we were in, and they were like, okay, we're gonna put you guys all in a room, put tear gas in there, and the first person to come out, we're gonna shoot him with this giant rubber bullet. And
to go from tear gas to rubber bullet is like
nobody wanted to do that.
Right,
so we all backed out of that one, and they ended up shooting the rubber bullet at Preston Lacey.
Yeah.
Like he's bent over and he just left his balls dangling too. He didn't even it was this big old rubber bullet, like as big as a wiener.
Yeah.
But thicker. It was horrible.
Yeah. So there was your intuition there or something, or do you call it that? I mean, would you even go like, oh yeah,
I'm scared. I was
just scared.
I mean, you call it pussing out or whatever. I don't care. I don't care what anyone calls me. If they call me chicken shit or whatever, there's no way I wanted to live the rest of my life that the horror of getting all those little pellets shot at me. And just
you were 30.
Traumatic.
So you made it to 30 and you're doing the first Jackass. And then do you have kids at that point?
No, I didn't have kids till I was 31 is when I had my daughter.
Oh, the next year.
Yeah.
Wow. And had the film come out by the time?
No, we didn't make the film till we had a TV series.
Oh, that's
first,
right.
so
it started with the TV.
That was in 2000. 2002 was when the movie came out. So
wow.
In the first movie where we're getting shocked and they shocked my gooch with the, that made you spit all over.
That was fucking so gnarly.
If you watch it again, you'll hear a baby crying in the background, and that's my daughter.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Shout out to her.
Yep.
Wow, did she get a credit for that?
She should have. And then we do the 0.5s. We did Jackass 2.5.
Yes.
And then so they're interviewing me for it, and then in what runs this naked kid, and it's my son, and he's like said something like my daddy's poopy, and then he ran out, and they used it. Like he's in there naked in the movie.
Yeah. How does he feel about that? You know, the Nirvana kid is like suing Nirvana for
it didn't work out.
It didn't work out. Yeah.
But this is not quite as famous as that.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. How did the first batch of kids do with, you've got like how many years distance between having your most recent kids?
11 years in between them, or no?
11 years.
8 years probably. I guess I was thinking the older one. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, pretty big gap.
What's it like? I guess what is like Jackass level fame, like how does it roll in from the first episode on MTV when it's a TV show? Like what could you take us through, like what it was like starting to get noticed, or like what's it feel like? Did it hit like a storm, or was it a slow roll?
For some of the guys it was like a big deal, like like Knoxville and Steve-O and Bam and Pontius, and then for others of us it was like kind of like we're half famous. We're like some people, the diehard fans would recognize us, but we kind of blended in. You're like, oh, or maybe you're one of the guys. Like no one could really name us.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's kind of almost remained that way. Where I kind of like it like that too, because I can go do whatever I want and people aren't bugging me. Where
that's cool.
If you go somewhere with Wee Man,
I
was like Wee Man, like it's crazy. Like we go skate, we have to go in the morning at like 6 a.m. to the skate park, or he just gets mobbed.
Oh, no way.
But
fuck.
I can go to the skate park any time of day and no one's getting mad. Because fuck.
So it worked out long term. I mean,
I think so. I mean, I'm not really hyped to be, I wouldn't want to be like super famous where everyone's like pointing at you and trying to get pictures and video and secretly like, yeah, usually just worked out pretty well.
That's great.
Not too big a deal.
What was your way in? Who did you know in the group?
Well, so I got way into snowboarding in my 20s, and then I was a pro snowboarder for a few years, and then I started doing photography and then and writing for the snowboard magazines, and then I became the editor of one.
What?
Blunt Snowboard Magazine.
Oh, sweet.
I got some copies back behind me here.
Love to see it. Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah, and then so anyways, that was the sister magazine to Big Brother Skateboard Magazine, which was the that's where Jackass came from.
That's
so
right.
I worked in the office next door, so I'd always go over there and be like, "You guys are more fun than ours."
Oh.
So I'd help them make the videos. They'd do like they started off with what was the first one? Shit, Boob, number 2, all those movies.
Yeah,
like I would like help them make little parts of it, and then so finally they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do that, but cut out all the skateboarding and try to make a TV show," because Jeff Tremaine, the director of Jackass, was really good friends with Spike Jonze.
Yeah.
And then they had Knoxville, who was kind of like starting to get some acting gigs, and he worked for the mag. So then it all came together, and we, the group of people that were already working with the magazine just kind of submitted their little footage, and we all shot it on our own, just home video cameras, and then made the pilot.
Yeah.
So that's how we got it started.
Did anyone in the group that you can remember actually see this taking off and being big? Maybe Tremaine out of all of them, or
I don't even think he did. I don't think, maybe Spike did. Spike is, he knows
he's a visionary.
He knows how. Yeah, he's a visionary. Where the rest of us are not visionaries. So yeah, we were like, we're gonna be on TV once. When they told us MTV picked it up, we're like, I'm gonna be on TV at 2 a.m. in the middle of the night once, and it's gonna be awesome.
That's true.
I was so happy about that.
Yeah.
And then somehow they wanted more episodes and kind of caught us all off guard. We're like, what? They actually like it? And then it just became an instant hit. And yeah.
Did it start off on MTV or MTV2?
I don't think there was MTV2 back then.
There wasn't?
No, it was just regular MTV.
Oh, okay. Because I feel there were some shows that came.
Wild Boys was just on on Jackass 2. Yeah, on MTV2, right?
Yeah, and so was Wonder Chosen. Do you know that show?
That sounds familiar. Is it that
it's like a Sesame Street?
Oh, but it's like Triumph.
It's demented. No, but it's stuff like that where there's a puppet that goes and annoys people.
What's it called again?
Wonder Chosen.
That sounds so familiar.
Only 2 seasons. It is so hardcore. They could only show it at 2 a.m. on MTV2. It was so tucked away, but it's this it's really, really early, like just digging in and flipping everything on its. Yeah, it's
You know what a really good
irreverent.
early show was that I used to watch on MTV? It was a British show, so it probably was originally on the BBC or something, but The Young Ones.
Oh, dude, I was just talking about
The
him. Neil.
Young Ones. Yeah, Neil.
Fucking love Neil.
Remember when he gets pregnant?
Yeah,
And
no,
it
I haven't
ends up
seen
just being
enough
a
of
giant
them, but-
fart.
Yeah.
The whole episode, he's like, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and then at the end, it was a giant fart.
It's so funny where Neil enters into my life. It's not from The Young Ones. It's like when I was a kid, my mom got the Band-Aid Do They Know It's Christmas vinyl, and there was a VHS that came out that was like had the music video, and it also had a documentary about making not We Are the World, Do They Know It's Christmas, right? And Neil shows up as Neil to the sessions, and he's just kind of joshing with people backstage, and it's the funniest thing. And when I was a kid, I loved the comedy of Neil without even having any context of Young Ones or
Oh, you
anything
didn't
like that.
watch the show yet? Wow.
No, I was like, I think when that came out, I was 10 or something like that, and I thought he was cool. Like he's just sliding in over here and like talking.
Yeah, this hippie.
Yeah, totally. And like acting like he's supposed to be with them. And they were all kind of like Phil Collins is like looking over and, and it was comedy. I didn't realize that what was happening here is like, this guy is like, he's ruffling feathers and he's doing what you guys ended up doing really in this scene in the Do They Know It's Christmas thing. He's kind of back there doing pranks, like acting as himself and seeing what comes up. Did you have that when you were in your youth at all? Like wanting to,
Oh yeah, we were just
great, let's get it.
we there's a lot of like citrus going on around here, so we would just throw lemons at cars and try to get them to chase us. And we had these trails that we called the terror trails. Or that's where we wanted them. We knew them, like the back of our hand, but they wouldn't know. So they pull over and we're like, yes, and get them to chase us through backyards. And we're like, we knew that they jumped this fence, the big dog would get them, but we knew how to jump out before and stuff like that. And we would do this one where one guy gets on one side of the road, and one guy gets on the other, and then when a car comes, you both like act like you have a rope and you pull it back, but there's no rope.
Yeah.
So they slam on their brakes and then you get pissed and chase you. And then we would skate this ditch in Camarillo under the freeway, under the 101 freeway.
Yeah.
And so we would like build like a fire pit down there and skate at night. And then my friend threw a rock at a car that was passing by, and then they came back and then he ran. And so it's just the rest of us. The guy's like, "Where'd that guy go? I saw him run." We're like, "Oh, we don't know." And then there's just one skateboard by itself. And he's like, "That's his board." And he grabs it and threw it in the fire.
Oh my God. That's a great story.
But we did a lot of stuff, breaking all the mailboxes, and we would just go into stores and go. We would go. I was just telling my kids about this. We used to go to the mall, and we had the Muppets animal doll, the drummer from the Muppets, and we would go to the second story and drop it onto people. That was
fun.
One thing.
Had you seen that done anywhere? Is this like a Dave Letterman drops the watermelon? It's probably way before that.
We didn't see anything. We just thought it was funny.
That is funny. Yeah.
The only thing I can think of isn't it like Fast Times at Ridgemont High where they drop the slushies on the person?
Oh
in the
no,
mall?
it's is it Weird Science?
Oh yes, it's Weird Science.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I can't believe I know that reference because I just saw Weird Science recently, and it's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
He's the guy who's
he's
pouring
the dickhead. Yeah.
yeah.
I just showed my younger kids that, and actually,
too,
it has a pretty good message. I think,
does,
yeah. Like, as it started going, I'm like, maybe this was a mistake, but
when they start to make the boob size,
yeah. But in the end, like she's like a mentor.
yeah. It's true.
It is kind of weird when she starts making out with the young kid, though. You're like,
John Hughes.
Oh yeah,
It was a John Hughes film. I wanted to name. It's weird, like because one of the kids' name is Wyatt in that movie, and I remember being really taken by that name. I wanted to name. I was starting to dream about having kids at a young age, and going like, I'm going to name my first son Wyatt. I wish I could call myself Wyatt.
What about Chet?
Oh yeah, Chet.
That pile of shit.
Yes, that's
He
amazing.
lived here in Ojai. I don't know if he still does.
Bill
Pullman.
Paxton.
I get them mixed up.
I know,
Pullman,
a lot of
Paxton?
people do.
One of those dudes.
Yeah, Pullman's the Lost Highway guy.
I think they're the same guy.
Yeah.
He just uses different last
But
names
he
for
died.
different projects.
Bill Paxton died.
Yeah. I guess I didn't know that.
Chet. R.I.P. Chet. That was such a
Wait, so
great
which
role.
one was Chet? Paxton?
Yeah, Paxton. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
sorry to hear
Yeah.
he died. But that was a great role.
Such a great role.
Arms,
Yeah,
and fart and
exactly.
stuff.
Yeah, so good. Mentors. Who were mentors at any stage in your life? Like, who were people that, I was wondering, like, did anybody sort of sounds like your stepdad showed you how to go to church, and you learned how to rebel. Did anybody show you sort of how to like be an adult, or when you were an adult, kind of like, I don't know, how to be a dad or anything like that? Who are the influences?
Nobody taught me anything like that. But my grandma was super awesome.
Yeah?
She was just amazing. She was super hilarious, and she could play any musical instrument by ear. I'd just be like, she would teach me how to play things on the piano or whatever. I'd play like Iron Man. She'd be like, oh yeah, just play it, or
sweet,
anything. She could just play anything, and that was awesome. And just super funny lady.
Yeah. That's accepting.
Awesome.
Like that's exactly like good mentorship is just like somebody goes like, oh, you're into that? Yeah, let's do this. Let's make it good. Here's how you do that. It's great. It's great. And did music ever? Was it ever an ambition?
I suck at music.
Is that right?
I just go like this on all the keyboards. I have a bunch of I have her old piano and some of her old keyboards, and I just like one finger single just mess around.
Yeah,
but yeah. I'm not very musical. I wish I was.
She's passed.
Yeah, she passed away in 2007.
Oh, what was her name?
Lorraine Smith. Yeah, she's from here, from Ojai.
Wow. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in Ojai? Because you keep mentioning
I was
around
born,
here.
I was born here in Ojai, and then I grew up all through the Ventura County, like Camarillo, Ventura, and but most of my family was always been here. My great grandparents on two sides, and my grandparents and all my aunts. Or so every weekend we were here, no matter where we were living in Ventura.
That's awesome. So you grew up near the lake and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Oh yeah, my grandpa would fish there all the time and go with him out on his little boat.
Me too.
Yeah,
I learned to fish in
Casitas?
Lake Casitas.
Nice.
Yeah, with my grandfather, my step grandfather, and it was a trip to end up here. When I ended up moving here, because I realized that I was like, wow, this is like a full circle, experience, and now raising kids here.
Yeah.
And all that. It's a wonderful place to be, certainly. Have you seen it change in ways that are I don't know what I'm asking here. I mean, is it
because all the people from LA moved here? Is that what you're asking? I don't know. Who is supposed to be here? That's the one thing I always fall back on. I'm like, are we supposed to be here?
Right,
Is anybody?
exactly.
Like there were the natives were here first,
right?
And then we just kind of took over. Like that was lame, and then. Now we're upset about the next people trying to do the same thing. Like I don't know where. I don't know
who has ground, who has authority.
Yeah. To me, I'm just like
as
long as they're not like ruining everything. But,
right.
I mean, it's made everything super expensive, and
right.
I don't know. There's its issues, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. What's it like going through red carpet life and all that stuff when the films come out, or do you? And also, what's it like getting a call out of nowhere that another one of these movies is going to be made?
Yeah, right now we're feeling like some of us have been talking. We're like, we feel like we're about to get that call. There's these certain signals that have been happening. We're like, are we going to make another one of these? And every single one we made, we think's the last Jackass ever. So Jackass Forever. We're like, that's it. And then now it's starting to feel like there's this certain vibe going on where we might make another one. I don't know though.
Yeah, it worked really well with the new group.
Yeah, they're super awesome. Yeah,
they're great. There's some things I want to clear up. I want to because I'm such a fan of the show. It feels like sometimes that very few, like maybe 2 or 3 moments in each film, and I'm going to say maybe from 3 on, where it seems like part of it is set up. And part of it is like, I don't know. It feels there's some moments that don't feel as natural as the others, where maybe some people were involved in it that we're not aware of. Does that ever happen?
I mean, I don't follow that completely, but I mean, some stuff is more controlled than other stuff, which is my favorite stuff is the stuff that just happens off the cuff, unplanned.
Yeah.
We're just driving to the next spot in a van, and all of a sudden we get a bit out of that, out of something that just happens out of the blue.
Yeah.
Spontaneously.
Yeah.
That's always been my favorite. And with COVID, that kind of put a damper on a lot of that.
I bet.
And a lot of the public stuff too. It was really hard to do the public stuff.
That's right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well that's
another reason we're thinking maybe we need to do one more so we can do it properly.
Squeeze it in before things really get clamped down. Huh, that's cool. Yeah. What did I want to ask you just now about this? Okay, so you let's see. Oh yeah, and nothing embodies that thing that you're talking about more. Where the spontaneity of the thing happens, where like I was watching, I think it's in 2, where Spike is dressed up as the old person on the scooter. It's in 1 or 2.
It's 3.
It's in 3. Okay,
it's 3.
Okay, so I watched
sure.
3. I guess I watched all 3.
I could be wrong. I don't know. I get him mixed
and he's
up
just
too.
barreling down the hills, and you just hear him going, no brakes, no brakes. And I'm going like, that's fucking Spike Jonze. Like putting it all on the line. Like, and even when he does the one where his dress comes open, he's dressed up as the old lady and his
The big saggy boozy.
Yeah.
I'm a slut.
yeah. And it's in front of all these people. And I'm going like, this is the guy who made her and all these other things. Of course, he has the background that we all have on some level of being a fan of skateboarding and probably zine creation and all that early stuff. But still, that is like the ultimate.
He's so accomplished, and then all of a sudden he'll just kick you in the nuts as hard as he can. You're like, you're Spike Jonze. Why you?
Yeah.
And you can get him back too. Like you could kick him, and he'll just take it. He's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's really nice to have, as it was kind of demonstrated in the epically latered thing on him.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
I love
so
epically
good.
latered though.
Yeah,
Those are great.
Yeah, it was great. They really point out that he's sort of like the person who's like they're most proud, skateboarding's most proud.
Definitely.
You know, next to Tony Hawk or something.
Yeah,
because
but
of
it's
the
different.
cross-
I mean, he's
yeah.
more, like the creative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Does it get the life that you have as you start to meet I imagine you've met some of your heroes. Just have you?
Yeah, I mean, like mainly it's skateboarders. Yeah. So
Who are
when
some of your heroes?
meeting Tony Hawk? That took a long time before I could have a casual conversation with him because I'm like, you're Tony Hawk,
Right?
You're Tony Hawk. That's all I could think of for so long.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, we've done so many things with him now. I can like just shoot the shit with him. But
Wow.
I was just like blown away, like to be in the same vicinity as him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a shy person?
No.
No.
I think so.
Okay, cool.
And I was really, really stoked to meet Jeff Grosso and hang out with him
Oh,
before,
yeah.
He passed away a couple years ago, unfortunately. And man, I cannot believe that still.
No shit. I just met
Yeah.
this guy.
Oh yeah, Hosoi.
Yeah.
He's a badass. Yeah.
Yeah, I just met him at
Yeah.
a vintage show. He's like selling. He was selling some vintage at this.
Vintage skateboard stuff?
Yeah, it was all his old T-shirts.
Wow.
He was selling
cool.
It was incredible, and I mean the prices were appropriate for what they were.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
he was there with his dad at this vintage show selling his T-shirts and talking to people just left and right. It was so cool to meet him. Those early videos, they really meant a lot.
This the Hammerhead skateboard right here.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s there was a ramp in Ventura called the B ramp. It was
I've heard
in
about
a Barranca.
this.
It was in this like little canyon.
Yeah.
And so just no man's land, like just I don't know what it was, public, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was, but anyway, some guys built the ramps. We'd all go down there and skate. And one day Hosoi showed up with his dad, and they're like, smoking weed. I'm like, this guy's smoking weed with his dad.
No
Fucking
shit.
crazy. Then he didn't have this board out yet, but he was explaining it to somebody, and he's like, look, and he drew it on the deck of the ramp. And I remember we were just like, oh my God, this is going to be the raddest board when it comes out. And then it came out, and we felt like we had the inside scoop, and it was super cool.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah.
I live for that. That's so crazy. I realized that at the vintage show, somebody said, yeah, so he's selling some stuff over there. And I went over and I saw it was his dad. And it wasn't him, and I went up to him. And
Oh my God, Hosoi has gotten really old. You know what? It was
his dad's
Hosoi.
cool,
and his dad is named Hosoi.
True, and his dad's super cool. Like it wasn't like I was looking at some sort of like elderly man or something.
That guy's badass.
He's such a badass, and I'm like talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, my son's over there." I went over and talked to Christian, and I was I don't think he knew, but now fucking everybody knows.
I'm sure that's happened many times. You know what? A thing I wanted to say on that note is here in Ojai we have Air Pizza.
Yeah,
and then so they put on a thing at the skate park a month or so, maybe 2 months ago.
Yep,
and barely publicized it. They're like, oh yeah, Tony Alva's going to be here, and Steve Van Doren from Vans.
Yeah,
and like 20, 30 people showed up. That was it. Tony Alva,
dude,
like
I know
the most legendary living skateboarder.
Yes,
straight
seriously.
up, unarguably, I think, inarguably, whatever you say that word.
Yeah,
and like there's just a small amount of kids, and he was handing out $20 bills to whoever was doing cool tricks.
Yeah,
it was such a cool event, and Steve Van Doren from Vans was just handing out Vans merch to everybody.
Nobody was there.
It was just such a rad thing, and I'm like, any other sport, like that wouldn't have gone down. It would have been this giant blown out thing.
Totally.
So it's so cool, and
it is cool.
And so cool for him to come up here and do that. He's really good friends with Terry who owns Air Pizza. So,
dude, I got something to tell you. It's so funny. I guess I'm gonna have to be skillful about this.
Uh-oh.
I know Terry. Terry and I were both getting our lives together at the same time in Hollywood in like 2003 and 4. And Terry was like, let's just say. He was like the person I think that everybody thought like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it because he's like the angry Greek. It's Terry. And he was like really into like doing things. He really believed in a message of recovery. And so he was kind of militant about it, but he was also new in the thing. And so he and I connected at that time, and we're friends, and he was always talking about doing this dream of opening up a sober living. And then, I didn't know that when I moved here years ago, I ran into him here, and he told me that he had done that thing, and we were like meeting up all these years later, and like you never can rule out the guy who you think may not, or he's kind of the wild one, the angry guy or whatever. He just became this loving family man, and he finished that project. He opened up Artist in Recovery, Sober Living, and then the pizza place to go with it. All this dream. It's so cool to meet up with him at this point, and I met Tony Alva at the opening, and he was like DJing.
Yeah.
Did you go to that?
Well, I didn't go to that one. I know I missed that, unfortunately, but he DJ'd after that when I was just.
Oh, he did.
Also, yeah.
And he's got fucking sick vinyl. He's just like playing this shit that like it's so hard to get. Those heroes early on, and the mystery of things of sort of like, we didn't have all the information of the world available to us. And so we really had to live day to day on the things that excited us. Early on, skateboarding was that for me. Skate videos, certainly it was an escape from the world. And it was also all this mystery around who these people were.
Yeah.
Like, who is Tommy Guerrero? Who's like, what are these guys like? And any glimpse that you could get of the realness of things or something like that just felt like such a gift. Now we just have everything available to us all the time. And, and
Thrasher magazine was like a Bible for me.
Yes, totally. Exactly. And did you get any of the other magazines too? Like,
I mean, Transworld.
Right.
And then, like I said, the zines, like I was way into zines, like, go to skate contests or just, little skate spots and people would hand each other their zines.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
Really cool.
That was cool.
I made a snowboard one in the 90s called Skin Tight Micro Zine. It's only this big. I have some, but they're in the room over there. Really little magazines because my friends made. It was called Crucial Leisure. It was this big, a magazine this big.
Yeah,
and I remember I'm like, that's the biggest snowboard magazine. I'm gonna make the littlest one. So I made
awesome.
5 issues of Skin Tight Micro Zine.
That's rad. What? Oh yeah, I have some things written down here.
Yeah, the written down shit. Fuck that.
No.
He wrote it in light blue.
No, so you can
baby
read
blue. Why isn't pink called baby red? It's just light red, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm kind of like not minding being branded with pink at this point. The cover of this podcast is like has this nice pink to it, and I don't know. You know how it was like you wouldn't want to be called sensitive when you were younger, or
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Or like be into therapy, or like a color like pink, or else you'd get severely made fun of. Or I don't know if that was.
But that's in the 80s with skateboarding. We'd wear pink on purpose so people would be making fun of us. We would do things on purpose to be ridiculed.
Yeah, that's true. It's like you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, and then that's kind of also the of Jackass. What do you call that?
The ump or what?
Well, we were all just like doing stuff like to kind of make people like we're the butt of the joke on purpose.
Right, exactly. Beat them to it.
Yeah, there you go. Beat them to it.
Yeah, that's the shit. Well, yeah, I guess I was wondering if your life was ending now, what would you consider the most spiritual moment of your life? Without any sort of context in religion or anything like that, just to you.
Just one moment that's really spiritual. I'm gonna have to say probably some like snowboarding. I can't even pick it out, but just like being way up, like maybe I've snowboarded all over the world, like Alaska, just out there. You don't even. I remember feeling like an ant, like I was that size, like because everything else around me was so big, and I felt so little, and it was just that feeling was just like it was like going to a different world,
right?
I'm no longer like I'm like this little teeny thing that doesn't matter that can instantly be taken away.
Yes, and you have this grand view at the same time,
you're just
right?
This beautiful, but scary as hell because like there's crevasses and all this stuff. Right. That's it's not a ski area. It's just this giant mountain.
Yeah.
In Alaska, they just drop you off on a helicopter and they're like, meet us down. See that way down there? Meet us there. If you're not there, you're gone. Yeah. Like you have to meet them there. Like you can't.
I always love it when people use crevasse in statements.
Crevasse.
Yeah. Remember when in Wonder Boy, the song, the Tenacious D song? He has a line about crevasse. At a minute.
I don't know that one, but I like it. But yeah, that is a funny word. It's like a French word, I think.
So being big and small at the same time.
Just small.
Just small. No, I mean like everything else is big. Right? Everything else is big. You're very small, and to you, that's like a spirit. That's
definitely,
yeah. That's a good one. What about? Were there ever moments where you thought you were actually going to die?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like avalanches and in Alaska once. It was expensive to take the helicopter ride, so me and my friend got the idea. We're like, we'll just like hike little things that we like along the way. So we're coming down. We're like, oh, there's like this wind lip. Let's hike back up and jump it. So we're hiking back up. My foot goes through the snow. I'm like, that's weird. It feels like hollow underneath. I look in the hole, and it's a 30-foot deep blue room.
Wow.
And we're like in this deep of snow, like above it. And I'm like, dude, just spread yourself out, and we got to get away from this. I'm like, I look at the room, like we got to go that way.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, each little step, we're just thinking we could just go poof into this 30-foot deep blue ice room, and no one would ever see us again.
Yeah.
No one would even know we were down there.
Who are you in that moment? Like, I mean, besides
scared shitless person is who I was. And this other time I got an avalanche in Russia. I was snowboarding in Russia.
What?
And the avalanche was coming down, and there's all these techniques to do, but I knew I couldn't do any of them because it was going to pull me off a 200-foot cliff, just rocks and trees.
Yeah.
So somehow I got the idea to punch through, like the shelf I was on fell through and it exposed the ice underneath, and I punched and like anchored myself in.
Yeah.
And then the snow went over me, and I held my ground somehow. When I came back up, I couldn't snowboard because my knees were banging into each other out of fear so badly. It took like 20 minutes to be able to even function.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm dead.
Dude, just being in Russia, I was like, I mean,
crazy.
I watch documentaries sometimes, and I watch people traveling, and I go, God, every time we travel and we go to another country, it's like you're really handing over your fate to another system, to whatever's going on there, that, a non-nuanced view of what's going on in another country is just like looking at brochures or what you've seen online. But like there might be cartel shit or who knows what, going on in certain areas, and just going there, you really hand things over. And I've been looking at that going like, it's insane we travel.
This is 94 when we were in Russia too. There was no internet, and they had just opened things up. They were just opening the borders to let people in.
Yeah.
And you had to have a sponsor. You had to have someone in Russia that was going to like take care of you and make sure. So we had this guy, Mickey Vukovic. He was a
shout out.
Yeah, he was worked for Transworld magazine.
Oh, sweet.
So anyways, he got us over there, and then it was just a whole different way of doing everything. And this, like they just now, like, what was it called? The free market or whatever had just come to them. So they had, at every corner, it was a little stand with Marlboro cigarettes, Coca-Cola, and Snickers bars. That's what they were hyped on about America. Yeah, it was really
that's like
funny.
Main Street America, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So, and does traveling, I've heard about India, that the most enlightening thing about it, I had somebody on here that said the most enlightening thing about India is that when you go there, you'll never think about, there'll never be anything that's too much again. And that's like insanely enlightening, because you just feel free after that, because everything is so intensely.
The most horrible stuff in India and the most beautiful stuff are just slammed together constantly all day. Like the worst smell, the best smell, someone just living a squalor and someone just like, living awesome. Like it's not separate. Everything.
The paradoxes are all together.
They're all right there together. It's so weird. It'll be like a slum in a high rise just right next to each other, and just.
Did you guys shoot there or anything? Or
we shot for 2 weeks in India and used 1.5 minutes in the movie.
Oh my god! And what minute and a half? Which film is it?
Jackass 2 is
it's 2.
When Wee Man and President have that thing where they're chasing each other in their underwear and they go around the corner and come back and there's like a whole army of little people chasing.
How do you even navigate that in another country? Who goes
They had like a hookup of a Bollywood production team. They were awesome. They were super cool. And they took us around and they had it all figured out. Yeah.
Sweet. What stood out to you? Tell me more India stories because I haven't been.
So, there's these people called the Aguris. They're like these crazy. They're almost like punk rockers. They're like anti everything and like they steal the people like they float the bodies down the river. That's like a tradition. They steal them and eat them.
What?
They're cannibals. And so we had to, and they just do all kinds of depraved stuff. And so we hung out with these guys, these 3 or 4 guys. And they were, the one guy kept trying to stab me in the thigh, and then he'd miss my thigh. And then so he would just stab his own thigh and look at me like, that's what you're next. And he'd stab himself and he'd come lunging after me. And I'm like holding him back. And and they had a human skull like made into a bowl, and they were trying to feed us food out of that. And
wow.
They were just drinking their own pee and doing all this other crazy stuff. They had like just bad. It was just scary and bad. They're like, this guy is acting a little crazy because he's been chained to a bed for 4 days. We're like,
wild.
So that was a crazy one.
Yeah.
And just also like when we would do stunts there, we were like, man, if you get hurt, who's going to fix us? Like, we actually saw the inside of a hospital. We almost filmed something in a hospital. So I saw in there and it was like just flies everywhere, no AC, just hot and dirty.
There's that paradox again. This is the health zone.
Yeah.
It's covered with flies and full of people.
And this one thing I was just talking to my wife about the other day, how weird it was. It was 113 degrees this one day. Just as hot as you can imagine. And then there was a 30-foot diameter bonfire just raging like 8 foot high, and they were just dudes in robes all around it. So it's the hottest day you can imagine and the biggest bonfire I've ever seen. And there's just a massive amount of dudes just like as if it was cold. And and I was thinking almost, I'm like, was it like a sauna maybe? Like maybe that was like there's that heat.
Hot yoga or whatever.
Yeah, the hotter you get, you actually start to enjoy it and get a benefit from it. But I'll never quite understand. They were all bundled up, and it was super hot, and they're hanging out by this giant bonfire.
Yeah,
that was crazy. A weird one.
Yeah,
and then I was like, wow, they're really like potty trained the kids here early because all the moms were carrying the babies with just naked.
Yeah,
and then I started noticing they had like just shit all over them because. And that's another thing. People just shit everywhere. You're just like, oh, look, there's a guy shitting. There's a lady shitting. People are like, are you going to take a shit? And you just squat and take the shit. Wherever you are.
Jackass look very normal.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what? Yeah.
Oh, and then we were filming this one day, and, the people, they'll ride their motorcycle with multiple people. Like sometimes like 5-6 people. And this one was 4 guys. 4 guys on one motorcycle pulled over another really hot day.
Yeah.
And they watched us for 45 minutes just stacked. They didn't even get off the bike. Just 4 guys, just nuts to butts, just watching us film, and we're just watching them.
Oh, that's wild, man! That's so fun. Let's see.
And then we decided to go swimming in the Red Sea, which is super, super dirty.
Wow!
And I remember I was laughing. I'm like running in to go swimming, and there was a little hole in the sand, and I tripped and fell with my mouth open in the dirtiest water ever. And they used the beach instead of hanging out at the beach. It's like a foot traffic highway. So like there's like lanes. Like people are just walking like one lane going this way, and you had to like get through to go to the beach.
It's like a dream.
It was. Yeah, it was very strange. The whole place seemed like a dream.
Yeah. What's have you had like an insane like psychedelic story ever? Like something that just like one of those ones where it's just so epic that it's.
Yeah, I mean I've had some crazy stuff, but I can't think of one in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, snowboarding on mushrooms or acid is so fun. Yeah. But then sometimes if you start hallucinating too hard, and then you're just like, whoa, like how did I not just fall off a cliff or something? Because I was in a whole different world.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There is some weird safety to mushrooms in the way of like, there's a weird, like it does it for you. Like while your mind is maybe out there and like going like, how am I going to do this? There's like an inner knowing that's kind of taking
there must
over.
be. There has to be.
Yeah. Because I mean, people make it through very visual trips and this kind of shit all the time. Like, they make it through. And I found that too. Like there's always like something that knows how to answer the phone or whatever. So, answer the door. I've had to answer the door there's Mormons that have come by.
While you're tripping?
Yeah. and I love the Mormons. Like I've got some cousins back east who are like way in it, and they're all such amazing people. I'm not, I don't belong to any religion, but like the people are really nice, and I've learned something about like how they send when you're 18 you can do a mission or whatever, right? And
you must do a mission.
Oh, you must. Okay. Yeah.
I know that only because from snowboarding, like in Utah, there's these great mountains, so it produces epic, the best pro snowboarders, and they all would just stop and go on like a 2-year mission.
Oh,
like the
my
best
God.
guy, like,
the Mormon hole of the snowboarding world.
Yeah, like I'm gonna take off for 2 years, and then so many of them would come right back after 2 years and just rip again. And pro snowboarding, I just had to get that out of the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm always like, so just like, I think about being away from your family and, and you're just like paired up with somebody that you didn't know, and you're just doing that, going door to door.
That's rough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. And so I always like want to be really kind to them and like, hey, do you need some water? Listen, I'm not interested, but like, yeah, no, totally. I think Jesus is an interesting.
Do you want some mushrooms?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'll go answer the door and have this full on thing, and they have no idea what I'm saying. They have no idea. And somehow there's an inner knowing that can just talk with them and jam and then shut the door. My partner's just like, how did you do that? How did you talk? And I'm like, I don't know, but it feels like if you don't answer the door, they come back.
I gotta get this over with.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and that's kind of like with fear too. I found that like my fears, they keep coming back and they knock again if I don't face them. And if I do face them, then they seem to go away, like the Jehovah's Witnesses or the Mormons at the door, whoever, the solicitors at the door. If you face them and you're kind and just like, hey, listen, I'm not interested, but thanks so much. The fears go away. Actually, the more I faced them. Do you ever intentionally go toward a fear to learn something about yourself?
Not really. I don't think so. That's the thing too. Like a lot of people think on Jackass, we're all wanting to get hurt, but if that was the case, we wouldn't be very fun to watch because we're like, oh yeah, we don't want to get hurt. So it's fun to watch us squirm and be uncomfortable. Like
that's true.
If you're like a sadomasochist and enjoying it, it's kind of like, I wouldn't want to watch that.
That's true. I never think about that, actually. You just pointed out something really important that most of us watch it thinking that, oh, those are those crazy guys. But you're watching the sanity demonstrate itself because you guys are scared. Nobody's walking into it brazen. Everybody's kind of like, holy shit, like when Dunn got the car up his butt, that was a great one. Yeah. Totally. God, yeah. And what's that like living without him here?
It's just crazy. I just still can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
That's all you really can say about that one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But that was something he really liked to do, or not drink and drive, but just drive super fast in car. And like he would just get these crazy cars and push them to the limit. And like he had a lot of crashes before that too.
Well, and there's that weird paradox too of course, like you wouldn't want him to have passed away or not be here. And at the same time, he was like doing something that he loved. Like I lost somebody in my life who always just fantasized about driving in fast cars. And she was my aunt, and she was she was a lead singer of this band called Betty Blowtorch. And they were like an all girl kind of like even harder than Kiss, more like AC/DC band. And they had girls with blowtorches also on stage, even when remember when Great White like burned down a club or whatever, like my aunt was still on tour with her band doing pyrotechnics and still doing it every night. And she just always fantasized about driving in fast cars, and that's how she passed away. And, I mean, and she was like, she died instantly, and she was killed by a drunk driver, and the drunk driver lived. And it could be very tragic, but then there's this weird element to it of just like, after enough time passes that you kind of go, you can look back and I don't know, my mind always is trying to see the good, and going like, well, maybe that was thrilling and it was over in a second. I don't know, but I don't know. Let's see. Trying to figure out how to transition past that really tender thing, but I watch Ryan and watch those videos, and it's cool that he lives forever, on some level.
Definitely.
It's cool we can tap into Ryan Dunn now on demand,
Yeah. Agreed.
Nice.
Hey, how'd you come up with love is the author?
Thanks for asking. Actually, drugs. I wouldn't have called them drugs before, but ayahuasca. I took ayahuasca once, and it kind of killed me. It said, we're killing you now. We're taking your body. You think you're all spiritual and shit, and you need a body to be spiritual, so we're going to take it from you now. And how's that? I mean, is
this something that physically happened, or just seemed
like
that was
like
happening?
It.
Okay.
I'm on the drug, and it's getting really intense, and the visuals are really intense, and there's no. Sometimes when you're on a psychedelic, you can peer out into the world and go, oh, the world's still here. Cool. And I couldn't do that anymore. Everything had been, and it was so intense. And I was being squozed, basically. I just felt like I was being squeezed. The life was being squeezed out of me. And it was the scariest moment of my life. And even though I was safe in a warehouse with 30 other people, I didn't know that I was safe, and I literally said goodbye to everything I loved, and so scary. And after I survived that, and you're brought back, it kind of just changes your view, even if it was a psychological death, and so everything just looked different to me. So I'd had that death experience, and they were doing another night, and so I went, and I was like, I want to learn about love. I've learned about death. It really was a great teacher, but what is love, And so I went into this trip and drank with the shaman. And then an hour later, it was right back in that intense, scary, place that I'd been the time before. Just the worst of it. It took me straight back to the worst part, but I'd seen it before. And I was like, wait, you survived this. Oh yeah. I didn't know the first time that you actually survived this level of intensity. So I just could sit back. And when I did that, and a calm came over me, I just kind of sat back and watched the show. And then I heard this voice say, love is the author of all. And it was showing me that behind everything is love. Even if you don't think it is, that we're being carved out to be more like love. And love in this case is just it's just life, the experience of getting to live and have choices and move in a body, and all of that is just love, and we want more a lot of the time than that,
Yeah.
So anyway, it was a profound statement that came from a dark moment that I just have lived by since, and it was a natural thing to call this show.
You could have called it squoze. I heard you say that. I don't think it's a word, but it should be. I like that. Squoze, like a past tense of squeeze. I got squozed. Is that what you said? Squoze. I like that one.
I've been using squoze liberally for a while, and nobody's corrected me.
I'm not correcting you.
I know, nobody's even pointed it out.
I just think I've never heard anyone say squoze, but I knew what you meant. I was like,
past tense squeezing.
Squeeze, squoze.
Yeah, this is
freeze, froze.
Right. This is the land of Ojai would be a place that there's a lot of squozing. There's a lot of squozing that's gone on here. Okay, so what? Let me see. Gather my thoughts here. What do you do to take care of yourself?
Just over the years, skateboarding, snowboarding, Jackass, which snowboarding was the worst on my body out of all of them. But
is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty banged up, and so sauna and ice bath. Yeah, those are my saviors. Nice. They help me so much. I do that 5 times a week.
Nice,
and I love it. I just have one of those barrel saunas and a little tub out in front of it, and I just alternate between the two of them.
Yeah.
And it's made a huge difference. I'm able to do so much more things than I kind of felt like I was just starting to get tighter and tighter, and no matter what I would do, just I couldn't get any relief. And now that's made a huge difference. And, you know, like try to eat right. And
Sure.
I mean, I'm not that great at it. Like I definitely
you sent me a video. You sent me a text of you eating the pie that you bought.
Yeah, I just had a craving for the pie.
I was looking at
A
that.
weed-induced craving.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I was looking at that and I was going like, I think my pie days are over because of the fucking gout.
Oh, right. Hard sugar makes it worse.
Yeah,
right?
it's like really intense. I know. How do you raise kids, I guess, and you know, then how do you like raise them without them wanting to do this shit?
Oh, that's the thing that I've noticed, you know, especially with my older kids, is like they've seen me get hurt so many times that they're extra cautious.
Dude, totally.
So, you know what I mean? They're like, they see it firsthand. You do dumb things, you pay dumb price, and so they've learned to.
It's the best. Like it's like the Just Say No campaign. Having your dad be a jackass.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so true. I mean, even in my life, like my life's got some dents in it, some hail damage, some prior car reports or whatever, like of destruction. I've gone through all that stuff, and my kids know about my gnarly past, and I've given them a life to where they don't have to do that and can look at it and go like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, they see what happens.
Totally. And they value their life. Like,
yes.
That's the coolest thing, is like them going like, no, I don't want to do that stuff that dad did, is like them being in touch with, I guess, the thing I'm talking about in Love Is the Author, like the value of their own life, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. What do you want to do the rest of your life?
Right now, you know, like I said, I'm making a fingerboard documentary. So
yeah, I
really am hoping to, you know, have that lead me into the path of making more documentaries.
Sweet.
I really enjoy that. So this one I'm making all on my own for the most part. And so, you know, that's really hard to be filming it, interviewing people, you know, putting it all together, just all the different aspects of it, where I really would like to have like a team of people, and everyone's doing their own, you know, because I'm doing the audio, the videoing, the interviewing, the everything, and it's like it's overwhelming for me. But
you are?
Yeah, because this one I'm just doing no budget, you know, it's just on my own. And so I'm hoping that this turns out good enough to where I could get funding for the next one and have a team to work with. That'd be really fun. That's really where I'm trying to go.
That's
with my life.
That's rad. And is it a surprise to you that that's like the important thing after all these other accomplishments in life, that like that making this documentary could have that importance, or does it make sense?
It makes sense to me. Yeah. It just seemed like the most logical next step. And I've always enjoyed stuff like that. You know, like I said, I worked at a snowboard magazine. I would always be interviewing people. That was one of my favorite things, to do the interviews. I'd really, you know, really take a lot of time picking out the questions I was going to ask them. Unlike you. Just kidding. Just joking. I was just kidding. No, I'm just like, I identified a lot when you're looking at the paper and you're like trying to remember what you're going to ask. It's like crazy in the moment. It's hard to remember. You think you have it all worked out and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, I only said 3 things on there and the rest has been completely spontaneous.
Oh yeah, you're doing great. I'm just giving you shit. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I guess there's this. I saw that around the world there's finger skateboarding competitions, and there's like these ramps somewhere in, not the Netherlands, but like
in Bavaria, Germany.
Bavaria, yes.
Yeah, I just went in June to the World Championships. There were 28 countries represented in the contest.
That's rad.
120 entrants, just giant crowd, stadium seating, full judge panel, like a 10-hour contest. And it was amazing.
It's super gnarly.
And the skill
the
levels.
The tricks are insane.
Dude, and very consistent. They give you the craziest tricks. They're so in control. And these guys, you know, thousands of hours into it. And it's amazing.
Do you still watch like the skate videos that come out, or like on YouTube
I just
at all?
glaze over any sport. Like I can't watch sports. I need something like, I can't just watch someone do a sport. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
I can watch it for like a minute or two, but after that I just glaze over. I'm like, oh, I just can't.
Yeah. I just watched the most recent Nike skateboarding release. It came out this week. And I'm not, I don't watch them all the time. I'm not like living by them. But I saw it and I was like, well, what's going on with Nike and then skateboarding? Like, well, let me see where tricks are at now. It is fucking insane what people are doing now. Like I mean, I hate to sound old, but it's like watching the old Powell videos and seeing what was being done there, like McGill and, you know, and all like doing all these riding the 720 or the McTwist or any of these things that were going on there. Now it's like the level has been so upped that it's. And me with the coming off of the foot injury, I'm like watching every one of these things is going like I could see all the possibilities of having an ankle snap or whatever, you know, and I don't want to live that way projecting, you know, ankle snaps in the world, but it's so insane to watch where things are at.
Well, while we're on that subject, that reminds me of this where people, you know, when they see something or someone's doing something really dangerous and they're like, how are they not getting completely broken off all the time? It's because they're good at falling. And and that's what, you know, skateboarding, it really makes you good at falling. And that was a lot of what made us do these stunts on Jackass, because we know how to fall. With, you know, sometimes you get a little hurt, but, you know, when you know how to fall, you can do so many more things and get away with them.
Dude, that's crazy that's almost like a weird qualifier to being in Jackass, is like,
and to be a skateboarder.
Right.
Like,
right. I remember there's a fall of yours in particular that's in slow motion in the first one where you jump off the cart and you do a roll.
Yeah.
And I'm going like that. I was paying attention to your roll going like, that's an experienced fall.
That's a classic roll out of a skateboard fall. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So did you not want to be famous?
I just didn't know it was an option. I never considered it. It wasn't, you know.
So when it landed in your lap, it was sort of, there was more curiosity there than there was like prejudice to it or a desire for it.
Like I said before, I mean, I don't feel like I've ever been that famous. Like I'm definitely not any kind of a household name, or, you know, most people, if they do know me, they're like, he's one of the guys on Jackass. Most people don't even know my name.
So do you don't like the Beatles might associate themselves with having like made something collectively that's gone out in the world? Like you don't consider yourself a part of that collective of like, it's a legendary show. It ushered in a whole culture and it was like so DIY.
Yeah.
I mean, just so like exactly what it was like growing up. You're watching like videos you're watching MTV now and you're seeing like what you used to do with your friends being put on this level that I mean, went around the world. And it do you have do you try and stay out of how big things have gotten or anything like that? Because
I don't know, in my experience, like you're compared to, say, the Beatles. There's 4 Beatles. Everyone knows the 4 Beatles names. We have 9. We started out with 9 of us. So it's like, you know, they kind of put 4 to 5 in the foreground, and the rest of us were like, we're here too. But, you know, that's how I always felt. Like I'm also there, but not on their level of fame or, you know, whatever. So I just feel like fame light or something.
Nice.
I don't know. But yeah, it's just enough to make it, you know, like, you get little perks here and there, and you know, it's a confidence boost if someone comes up and goes, "Oh, you know, like I grew up watching you." Like,
cool, you let it in.
That feels great, but you know, like I said, some of the other guys, like they can't even walk down the street without being stopped every 5 feet, and that's true. That doesn't look fun.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But I've never really had that in my life. So.
And you've watched them go through it even more.
Oh yeah, or I'll be with them walking somewhere. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. We're just trying to get across the street here, and we've stopped so many times. You know, people want a photo or to talk, which is fine. But I'm just saying, like, I get it so much less that it's not a problem for me. Where for them, it's kind of like they have to think twice of what they're going to do with their life.
God, it sounds really healthy. It sounds like it sounds like you were given one of the healthiest roles in the situation because you get to be a part of it, and yet you get to maintain like some anonymity, at least by your own perception.
Exactly.
You are, but it also brings like a good life, and what I imagine is a good life. You know,
it feels like a balance, like a good balance.
But you just like hit it right. You know, it's cool that it worked out that way for you.
Yeah, I'm very thankful, and I never thought my life would turn out anything like this. Like my specialty was dishwashing.
Are you good at it?
I'm really good at it.
Me too.
My wife says I suck, but she's wrong. I'm super good at it.
Yeah. What brings you peace these days?
I guess smoking weed.
Yeah.
No, really, dude, surfing. Like I'm a late in life surfer. I didn't start till my 40s because when I was a kid, the skaters and the surfers didn't get along. It was stupid. Yeah. But anyways, I was like, you know, fuck surfing. It was like a rich kid sport. And then now I just love it because, you know, there's less impact. You're able, you know, still feels like, you know, skateboarding when you're up, you know, when you actually get up and standing up. But, you know, just being out in the ocean and being out in nature, and there's no cell phone or anything. And I love it. And the the longer I don't go, if I can't surf, it's just I start to feel this like tightening up, and then when I go, I'm like, oh,
dude, that's rad.
It's the best release and the best like recharge ever.
That's that mountaintop thing that you were talking about earlier.
But it's so much more accessible because I just drive down to the beach here. I don't need a lift ticket or a helicopter or anything. I just need a wetsuit and a surfboard.
Yeah. Did you know Jerry G?
I hadn't met him, but I didn't know him. But that's horrible.
Yeah. Very magical. Also a magical.
You were a
horrible.
friend of his?
Yeah. I was a friend. I mean, I was a new friend of his. I was on a microdose walk with my partner, and we're walking through the neighborhood, and I think we actually ran into Hayden that day, and it was the first time I'd ever talked to him. It was a few years ago. Small Time Citrus, shout out. And then I was walking home with my partner, and this guy was like, "Hey, come here!" And we look across the street, and there's this really nice house, and this little guy. He's like, "Hey, you two, come here. You guys look cool. Come here for a second." We walk across the street, and we're in this microdose kind of world, and so we're like, "What's going on here?" And he's like, "Hey, you guys look really cool." He's like, "Yeah, this is my new house, and I'm like new to the neighborhood." And he's like, "Come on in. Why don't you meet my son?" And just ushered us in this gate, and we went and hung out in his chicken coop with his kid, and we're just having this magical experience, just like getting to know this guy. And he tells us that he was like a manager for Dawes and all these really great LA iconic sort of Topanga Canyon bands, and he's deadhead, and he just lives and he's taking care of his son, and married to this girl of his dreams, and we got to know him just like in the last window of his life, right before he passed. He came to my birthday party. He's just a new guy in town, but everybody knew Jerry in Ojai because he stuck his hand out, and he was like getting to know people, and he's a surfer and deadhead and really cool guy. And then he passed away on the anniversary of meeting his partner and them conceiving their child. They met, and they were like, "You want to make a baby?" Yeah. And they made their child, who's now 5. And he passed away on his surfboard, surfing at Rincon, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
He was the same age as me.
Wow. And he collided with, I think, a Native American.
Oh, I didn't know who he...
And it was, of course, an accident, but they pulled him out of the water and were able to pray for him and do rites right there on the beach. Now I go, okay, we could wait. Of course, I don't want to live without Jerry. I don't want his kid to live without Jerry, or his partner, Allie, to live without him. And there's a strange mystery in life of like bringing those things together. There's this strange, horrible beauty to it, that is like these paradoxes that you're talking about in India, where like these things are smashed together. It's like instant death, but like while surfing on this anniversary and having rites done by a Native American who's, like you said, whose land it was before ours, and that kind of like closing on a story is just, it's haunting. It's haunting. And it's kind of like those things in life I love so much. I feel like Spike Jonze, one of those people who kind of can work with that haunting feeling and bring that out in ways that are also beautiful, and David Lynch is another person who does that. And that's the shit that I love in life. And of course there's tragedy here and like insane beauty. And how do you even make sense of it other than like keep the story alive?
Yeah.
Like this right here.
I don't think there's a way to make sense of it. That's the thing that it's like probably a human thing. We want to make sense of everything, and some things you just can't.
And I've remained close with Allie and Quinn and Jerry's like around. Like there's some people also that, like Ryan, like there's an alive quality, like they're alive in our memory, and we can tap into it, and there is no death on some level, and we miss them, but there's also no death. Somebody thought they could kill John Lennon, and it just made him, everybody was singing the songs, Anyway, weird note to end on, but, appropriate probably for a basement.
Yes. Yeah.
This has been so nice, man, to have us here.
I've never let anyone leave this room alive. I don't see why I would start now. So
how are you going to kill me?
Death by fingerboards.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, man, thanks so much.
Thank you, man. I
Really
appreciate you having me.
Oh, yeah. No, thank you. And I really like who you are. I really, just as a person, you know, you're somebody that was only on the screen to me, and I'd heard was a local here in town, and, you know, and I'd maybe seen a casual glance of you once, but I'm telling you, like, you may think you're Dave England hiding in the back of this whole thing, but to me, like, you're an idea that in order for me to be your friend, I have to put the you that you've been to me aside, because you've textured some of my, and brought me such laughter over the years, you know, that now when I meet the people that I love, I have to like put that aside and just get to know who they are at this level. So this is a very grandiose way of you allowing that. You probably didn't know you were being interviewed to be a friend. Did
I get the job?
Yeah, you got the job. Thanks, Dave.
Nailed it.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right,
Jaymee.
Thanks, buddy.
Peace out.
Peace out.